Woo! Hello. Hello, you. Welcome to Amiga live stream thingy. I'm just going to turn the volume down though. Oh, I can hear banging tunes in my ear. A little bit of hired guns. Very exciting. Just going to play with the levels, by the way. So, you boys and girls at home, feel free to say, you're too loud, the game's too loud, etc. Now, I've never tried this before. Very first time trying it. Oh. By the way, I'm just taking the time out to drink some icy cola here. It is absolutely roasting. And I'm looking after the children. They're actually behind me. There is a paddling pool out there, so I've got to be a bit careful. Maybe one headphone cup off so I can have a hear. So yeah, just a little bit of background. We had a recent Retro Island diskettes with a very interesting person, and it's somewhat related to this game, so I felt I needed to try it. Never tried it before because it was pretty much an Amiga only game, although it was on PC, but maybe it was lame on the PC, didn't try it. So let's go through training. Hopefully it'll all work, no idea. So obviously up to 4 players, which is groovy. So let's have a quick look in the chat. JJXB 2004, hello to you too, sir. Ricky Walton, hiya. Captain Diomedes, greetings, Imperial citizens. Please continue your work for the Imperium. I'm just passing by to fight some heretics. Is that a Space Crusade reference? I do get confused sometimes with these things. Ricky Wilson says, is this a follow-up to Captive? I'm not sure, actually. I kind of think it might have been its own thing, really. But let's go for exploration. Why talk when I can play and talk at the same time? I ought to fix my windows. It's a bit of a weird aspect. Let me see if I can fix my windows here. Let's shunt this over there a bit. Let's put that over there. And can we squish this down a bit? Yes, put the chat. Let's put the chattering and nattering over there. Make me a bit smaller. Pop me over there. Yeah, maybe we can get a bit more real estate. So 003E, origin known Clavius, humanoid, 176 years. Oh, these choosing your peeps. Ooh, tricky one. Well, I'm going to go, I like her because she's looks like a nice lady. Keys, mouse, carriage return. An assassin. Robot lady. There's loads of characters actually, isn't there? It's a pretty good character thing. Oh, look, this one looks cool. 80s guy. 80s guy, yes. Retroman can say, is the stream voice chat on? Well, hopefully. When you say stream, do you mean Discord? There we go. Hello, can you hear me? Ahoy, ahoy. Neil of the Retro Man Cave is in the house. Hopefully. If he's not on mute, which he probably is. Right, it says your team is complete. End selection. Carriage return. Yeah, no, his voice will be on the stream. We're talking about the stream chat room in Discord, JJXB. He said he's saying hello, but it says on my screen that his microphone is off. Neil, it says your microphone's off, though. Click the little microphone X thing. God, all this loading, decompressing, loading. And I shall prove to you, Neil, before we go any further, for your benefit. Look, there you are. Not talking. Hello, hello. Right, so because it's not using the full screen, actually, I think I can optimise the windows slightly. Bear with me ever so slightly, and then we can embiggen it. Oh, actually, we can't really embiggen it, can we? Though we can see more. This is good, isn't it? All this fannying around. I need to make a Hired Guns Discord profile.
Hello, Andrew. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Hello. Right. We're in the game. Have you ever played this, Neil?
Well, the reason I came on the stream chat, aside from the recent Retro and Diskettes, was because I thought I might be able to give you a hand. Not that I know the game well, but I thought I could maybe look up a few things for you while you're playing.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm going to do is optimize the sound. So I think now people will be able to hear you pretty loudly. So could you just do a sound test by saying knobs and socks or something? Okay, so you've got 4 characters, and I'm guessing at the top you've got some menus. So...
Knobs and socks.
Oh, there you go. You came through perfectly loud. So let's see what you've got. You've got an inventory, so you can say, hold me gun. In fact, let's get them all weaponed up. This would have been really cool back in the day. And is the bottom of the screen, Neil, on these games? You know how the bottom of the screen isn't quite... filled? Is that something to do with NTSC? And then we've got a map, and then we've got stats. So it does appear that these characters might be able to move independently. And I think there's something going on in the middle of the screen. Which...
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to talk about who our guest was on Retro and Diskettes.
Yes.
And he explained to us something about the resolution on the screen, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm happy to as well. So you can have a go at that, Neil, while I just sort of mess with this. Message from Tesseract Battle Systems. Message completed by... Okay, well, I guess we did the level. I think that counts for training. Oh, apparently you're a little bit too loud.
I can hear it's coming down through a little bit too loud. But yeah, he was explaining because of the resolution difference between the Amiga and the PC. That I'll just let you adjust the volumes there because it's really weird to hear myself.
You are adjusted, Neil. I think you'll be good now.
Have you got me turned down a little bit, Andrew?
I have, yep.
Wonderful. Yeah, so our guest... Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. So, yeah, our guest was Steve Hammond from DMA Design, famous for... Oh, what did he do? Lemmings. He was there when GTA 1 came out. But Hired Guns was his real baby. He was heavily involved in Hired Guns, including writing the story for it. And it's quite an in-depth backstory to it. But one of the side effects of the difference in the resolution between the Amiga and the PC was that the Amiga has a slightly higher vertical resolution, and the story in the game appears in text along the bottom of the screen. So in the PC version, this elaborate story that he's written is completely cut out because it's supposed to be at the bottom of the screen and they've just hacked the bottom of it off.
trying to figure out how to run this bloody thing. Area compromised. Okay. So I've got a sort of a control scheme, Neil, which is the sort of keyboard controls as you get in the emulator. So we seem to be in some sort of overworld map, and trying to figure out how you actually start the game. Maybe F1. No.
Okay.
This is the first challenge, isn't it? Sometimes with the original hardware, it's easier, isn't it? 'Cause you just got actual buttons that do things that you're used to. I do remember on a lot of Atari ST titles. On the Atari ST titles, you used to have to press 1 a lot to start a 1.
I don't think there's any link between captive and hired guns that someone suggested earlier.
No. I think because it sounded to me like hired guns was pretty much the first, going to be the first of a thing. Dagnammit. Anyone watching on the stream know what I'm supposed to do here? Curses. This is what happens when you don't do the training mission. So what's the temperature in the cave, Neil?
I've got the manual here for you. Andy.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you.
Temperature's not bad because it is an actual cave. It's in the basement, so it's pretty cool down here.
Ah, there we go. Did it. Abandoned depot. And actually, I'm just going to adjust the back office blind so I can look at the old paddling pool. It's probably the old kids' paddling pools. Apparently, you're not supposed to leave them unattended. Okay. So I'm going to tool up everybody, I guess, because that sounds like a good idea for in a combat zone. It's got a bit of an odd mix of keyboards, so it lets you use.
Reading through the manual, it looks like you can actually play this 4-player. So each person is controlling one of the 4 characters.
How does it do that, Neil? Does it say if they're all joystick or keyboard or anything? Ah, right click to pick things up. If you had to join the Space Marine chapter, which one would it be? I don't really know enough about Space Marines anymore. Okay. So those are your guys. So you definitely can move your characters independently, and I think that's what our guest suggests you could do. Requires a key. And this definitely has a sort of Space Marine, Space Hulk type feel there. I'm itching for a good fight. There we go, picking that up. Oh, okay. I was kind of hoping you could move around on the overview. I don't really know what the objective is. No, I didn't pay enough attention. But you certainly have to get a key. So what I was thinking, Neil, if it's feasible to have more than one mouse connected, it would be possible, or keyboard, to actually get other people to play over the internet.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. I know it is possible to have two mice connected on an Amiga because you used to do it on the game The Settlers. On the first version of The Settlers, you would have split screen and two mice. I've never seen four mice on an Amiga though.
It's the sort of thing that you can do on PCs with ease, can't you, these days? But it's a bit of a challenge back then. This map is a bit tricky as well because there's no zoom on it or anything like that. Okay, well, we've done a bit of exploring of her. We should find another character. So that's her there. Let's see the outside. Compared to like modern games, it just doesn't give you quite the instant gratification you kind of want. And what's weird is, although you use the keyboard to move around the menus and things, you can't use them to control your character, and I think this would really benefit from keyboard blocked. Oh, Neil, did you? Because I'm a sort of cyborg now. You notice I'm underwater here.
It says in the menu you can use the various F keys to select your character.
I think we got it. Various F keys. Yeah, that's. Oops. That's assuming they're mapped, of course. What is the best starting point if I want to get into retro?
F4 to select character 4 and then try the arrow keys. Does it move them?
No. Although, yeah, the F keys definitely are doing something. But you see how you can sort of the arrow keys don't work, but you can see how you independently control each one on each menu, so you don't really need to select characters, because you can only move the one which your mouse is over. So Captain Diomede saying, what is the best starting point if I want to get into retro computer gaming and want some real hardware? Well, I think I'll answer my one and Neil can answer his. I would say, for me, I'm always quite into the 8-bit computers. So I'd go for a BBC because that's what I grew up with. But I suspect if you want a very easy route into it, you could try getting hold of a Commodore 64. What would you say, Neil? What would be your suggestion?
Well, assuming you don't have any nostalgia for a particular system, which is usually how we go about picking a system. It's the one we just have the most nostalgia for, having used it first time around. I would just agree with you. The Commodore 64, simply because it has such a huge library of games to pick from, so you can't really go wrong. You know, there's a lot of systems about, which makes it cheap. There's a lot of knowledge on repairing it, which makes it easy to fix or get parts for, and there's a huge number of games for it. So Commodore 64, personally, I would go for the Amiga, but that's because of my own memories and experiences of that system.
As you were talking, Neil, I was even thinking that, actually, if you want to get into a pretty decent retro system that seems exceedingly cheap for what it is, I think the Amigas, sorry, the Atari STs represent really quite good value on the market at the moment. You can pretty much pick them up for under £50, which is probably cheaper than a Commodore 64 or even a Speccy.
But then we're assuming microcomputers. I mean, if you want a really easy experience, then obviously consoles. It doesn't get any easier than a console and whacking a cartridge in.
That's true. I'd quite like... Gosh, so I'm just blown away by this game, because look at this. It's got stairs in it. It's actually got different levels. This is a crazy, decent 3D engine in this. And this was, of course, called 3D Game before a title was chosen for it. Hey, Fairfright14, how are you, sir? Would you care to offer your, you know, anybody in the chat, actually, what would you guys in the chat think should be a good starting point for a retro gaming experience? But you know, it's really weird, Neil, as well, is how some machines that would be virtually free back in the day now are so expensive. I'd quite like, as I said, a Sega Master System, and they're just like hen's teeth now. Perhaps the least respected the machine, because it became so cheap and it throwaway, the more of them were actually thrown away.
Yeah, I think we both remember the time when you could go to a car boot sale and all you would see is 8-bit machines basically being given away.
And there is a little bit of that now, isn't there, with the old Xbox 360s and things. But I think these modern machines actually have quite a lot of playability in them, compared to, say, a PlayStation or an original Xbox, which I think are hard work by modern standards. An Xbox 360, even though it's like nearly 20 years old, they kind of kick ass still. So this guy doesn't actually have a map sim. So Fairfight 14 says an Amiga or an ST, either with a Gotek. I mean, yeah, with a Gotek, it's
I think if you want to go down the route of the more modern 3D consoles, anything newer than a Dreamcast still looks good to me.
Yeah, I think you're right, really. I was thinking about that today. Was a Dreamcast really the equivalent of a GameCube in terms of hardware? It seemed to be about that era, didn't it?
Someone may be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Dreamcast was developed in part with Microsoft's input. It's kind of, you know, the Xbox Zero. So it has similarities to the Xbox.
I think it was one of those ones running Windows CE, wasn't it? Something like that. Or was certainly capable of running Windows CE, because I think that was used as the sort of OS on some of the discs. I'm getting deja vu here. Is it me, or is this game a lot trickier than I first assumed, because of its user interface is kind of clunky. And we got this with when we were playing, is it Shadow Worlds or Shadowlands? I don't know if you saw that, Neil, with young Gary. That was one of his favourites. But once you sort of a game that I remember being amazing as a kid, that when I started playing it now, it was just tedious. I just don't have that same patience now as a kind of a modern gamer. Uh-oh, drowning.
I didn't see that stream, but that's a isometric RPG, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it always had this sort of... Okay, I killed one of my characters. It always had this sort of anime-style graphics in it. That at the time, I remember them sort of totally blowing me away, but now the UI feels just very clunky. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at inventory management while we're here then. So if you've got something, this weapon, it's inventory grade. So it tells you the ammo. You can pick things up, drop them off. Instantaneously moves the user to a random location. That's kind of cool. Brick. Suppose you can chuck that, hit people over the head with it. Unidentifiable remains. Mysterious powders. Battery. So JJXB saying the original Xbox is rather easy, but he's got two modded ones.
Hello, Bazza. Good to see you here.
Bazza. Are you going to teach me to be Northern, Bazza? And Fairfight saying the GameCube is more Xbox and the Dreamcast is more Saturn. But isn't the Dreamcast was also Sega, right? And the Saturn was a Sega. So they wouldn't have made machines that were really similar, would they? Fair fight. I think I need to get a map for this or something. Does anyone have a copy of Amiga format with a map? The only console he's missing is an Atari Jaguar. Well, I think you might as well just leave that one missing. As much as I love Atari, I certainly don't have that much love for the Atari Jaguar. Bazza says he doesn't remember this game. And, oh, bugger, look, I do have a key. Wasn't this the first character I sent in trying to... Right. Bazza, yeah, this, I don't remember it either, but I think it was pretty much an Amiga exclusive, although there was a PC port. But knowing PC graphics and stuff at the time, I don't think many people would have been that interested in it. Ah, good. Requires key. Come on, another key. Okay, so we can assume. So Watch 75 says he has one sitting in his closet, but doesn't have many good games. That's an understatement. I thought the Missile Command was quite good, but if you played it in classic mode, retro mode. So I'm going to make Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you've got some materials on this in front of you. It seems to me that the objective here, because I can see exit, is probably just to sort of wipe out all the bad guys and head for the exit. I'm doing a trick now, like you used to get when you get stuck in one of those mazes in, you know, Hampton Court Palace, which is just stick to the one wall on the left.
There is an objective in the manual, but it's a very high-level objective for the entire game. So, what you have to do on this particular stage, I don't know.
I think I'm getting a good feel for the lay of the land now. So you can drop down there. Untested C64 without accessories, £30. Yeah. I think it's funny, really. I'm at the point now where I do see a lot of people buying a lot of games consoles and old computers, and they're getting them on eBay for like next to nothing sometimes, far less than I've ever managed to find things at. But I suspect if you're of a certain age and you've got a certain amount of budget, you kind of just want to buy something tested and working. What do you think, Neil? I know that goes against your ethos, but do you ever do that? Do you ever find that you just go, now I'll just pay the extra 20 quid to get one that's been recapped?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't go against my ethos at all, really. My ethos is just to be able to enjoy it, however you get hold of it, you know, whether you fix it up or not. I have to say, the biggest bargains I've ever got here in the UK are using Shpock. That's shpock.com, which is marketed as the car boot sale app. And I got an Amiga 500 with monitor for 20 quid on there.
Wow.
I got the CPC 6128 for 20 quid on there, so there are bargains to be had.
Have you noticed how Shpock seems to be the Gumtree before eBay bought Gumtree? If you know what I mean. You used to get quite good. Oh, sorry. This is a what? Don't know if you noticed that, Neil, but this is a. This is a block puzzle. Yeah, sorry. I think when eBay bought Gumtree, I don't know if it over commercialized it or something, but there certainly seems to be a lot less bargains to be had. So I don't know when in the interface on Gumtree when you're posting things if they're trying to divert you onto eBay and then revealing what you could get for your item when you get to eBay. I'll tell you what I mean, because locally we used to get some people and they would literally on Gumtree put on a like a Nintendo DS for £5 with 10 games, right? but I suspect if eBay now is routing them and showing them their adverts and things, similar items on eBay, what you could fetch.
I never really had any success on Gumtree. I think you get better results on Gumtree if you're near or in a city, but living out in the country like I do, I don't find anything on Gumtree.
A lot of the guys in Wales seem to get loads of bargains. Well, here, I think people are too tech savvy or something. Oh.
Oh, you know what? I'm not thinking about Gumtree. I'm thinking about Craigslist. Craigslist, you've got to be near a city. I haven't had any bargains on Gumtree either, but yeah, Craigslist, I've never found anything on there.
Craigslist. I thought that was a sort of really dodgy one. You've got to be careful using it, sort of thing. Ah, okay, right. I think now, Neil, just to sort of let you know what's going on in the game as I'm sort of slowly sussing it. You clearly have these puzzle sections, and because those blocks have handles, if you right click, it let you pull them towards you. And then if you left click, you're pushing them away. So it's a bit like, remember Sokuban? And for a second there I was worried that I'd kind of got myself jammed in and I'd have to get another character to come and rescue me. Right, so we'll continue now. So how have you been coping with the heat, Neil? Plenty of cold beverages? Sidestep, sidestep. Sidestep, sidestep.
I live in a basement flat and I have a basement office, so that's how I cope with the heat. I stay underground.
Like a womble. This reminds me like Nightmare. Do you remember the old that game with the kids? That game I was gonna say game show, but I don't know if that counts quite as a game show. But Tree Guard and a load of Amdram characters. So fair fight. You say the heat here is crazy. How crazy is it? Ah.
Yeah, there was a Nightmare game for the Amiga, and it was a dungeon crawler. I think that used the Captive engine.
Captive. Oh, and that was the Captive bugger. So you've got to be really careful with this drowning malarkey. So Captain Diomede says, I don't get it. Old consoles are everywhere in Germany, but not one good offer for old computers. Well, send your consoles over here and we'll send you some computers. Damn it. Puny humans. So if you're choosing your team on this game, I think it definitely makes sense to try to get a bloody cyborg in it if you don't want to get stuck. Although this cyborg doesn't seem to have a map. It's a fair fight. Yeah, it's 28 is feeling, it does feel hot when there's no wind, and there's certainly no wind here. Although the kids have sort of inflated a massive paddling pool that I don't know where that's appeared from. Going around in circles again. Not even for broken ones. People want exorbitantly astronomical prices. It's a fair fight. You're saying your office is so hot you can't sit any longer than 15 minutes. I think that's kind of been a problem really, because I don't know where Andrew is, or Gary. But we were talking about playing the Star Trek game, but nobody seems quite motivated enough in the heat to actually fire it up. This really is going round in circles, isn't it? Curse you! Watcher saying it's 42 degrees C where he lives. I kind of feel that if you're in a place where it's typically 42 degrees C, you're probably a bit more prepared for it than we are. Use the key card. Good. Baza, I don't know. I'm not. I think it might almost be time to try Syndicate at this point. As much as I love the graphics and even the sound effects of this game, I'm just not sure I can stand the gameplay. Not without keyboard, at least. It feels a lot like crikey, what was it called? That recent one we were playing, Grimlock. Do you remember that? Come on, Mr. Roboto. Stupid poles. Neil, what's the best game on the Amiga? Seeing as I've got the emulator set up, it seems a good opportunity to try one.
Ooh, can you narrow it down to genre maybe? There's a lot to pick from.
You know, we were playing the Great Gianna Sisters, and I thought that was actually quite a good game. And I think we were playing that on both the Amiga and the Commodore 64. But I think probably the Commodore 64 one was more impressive because it was, you know, far more basic hardware. So possibly something like that. Ah, something weird here. Maybe I've reached, yeah, the limit of what I can carry. So once you reach the limit...
How about a game called Arabian Nights? That's kind of a platformer that doesn't get a lot of love.
Okay. Alright, guys. The theme tune for Gianna Sisters is brilliant. It is good, isn't it? I mean, it's really catchy. Oh, I tell you what, Win UAE definitely doesn't like to give up the old cursor. Right, Arabian Nights. Is it nights as in night time? Arabian Nights. Let's have a look-see.
Yeah, Nights with an N, not a K.
Okay. Download. Oh, this is quite a good site, by the way. I don't know if you've seen this. When you download from the My Abandonware site, it actually includes the emulator. in the download. So let's try that out. And I know I'm saying that and I'm realizing usually it says DOS or Mac. Maybe this is just the ROM. But if it does certainly give you a Windows or a Mac option, it means it's bundled the emulator with it. Yeah, bridge crew on the Oculus is definitely a bit much, because the way, as you say, even when you're in a cold room, you often get the PC roaring away, don't you? Okay, interestingly enough, so I've got an option here of zillion and one different versions. So Neil, I feel almost that we should be obliged to be trying a Cortex, or but I don't see one in the list. And we're going to do the Arabian Nights.
I'm sure you can find a trainer on one of them. Just take a moment to appreciate the crack tray.
Yeah, I'm just looking. It's so confusing here, isn't it, when you sort of see all these, and it's like, what does this mean? Oh, Robert Taylor's here. Robert, sir, good afternoon. Now, I know that there's plenty. JJXB saying, I recommend trying to get a WHD load set up going. Well, we might be having to try to do that momentarily. If I can figure out which of these two floppies I'm supposed to use. I'll just try WinUAE, because sometimes I think, don't you just drop the floppies on it and it just works? We'll try that. Start. Alt and Tab, or middle mouse button untraps the mouse. No, no such luck. WHD load. This is a disaster. WHD. Oh, it's a .de. That means it's going to be good. An Amiga friendly hard disk makes it possible to install quite a lot. Oh, that sounds good, but too much effort right now for me. Right, so I'm just going to pick at random a disk 1 of 2 and a disk 2 of 2. So that one and that one. I'm going to pop that in a folder off to the side. So we've got disk 1 going on, and now we need disk 2. That one. That one. And then we run video. Oh, JJXB is going to try to get me a thing. Floppy drives. And then I think I have to put the disk image in there. Is that right? Yeah. Then I can maybe put a second floppy disk image on there. Start. Ooh. It's got a nice little crack throw there. And there's a PO box in Denmark. Oh, Italian. It's so brilliant how back in the day, look, it's so innocent, you could just send them post. Console to disk backup systems. Go on, call that number, see if it still exists. Okay. Okay, good, you can skip that. Now, another sort of issue we're going to have is if this game requires a joystick, aren't we? Need to plug in a joystick. Please wait. Oh, show animations, definitely. Arabian Nights. And again, look, we're losing that bottom chunk of the screen, but I guess on the CRT it looks fine. Get the old Competition Pro out. Well, I've got that joystick that I've pinched off you, Neil, that I still am looking to convert to USB, but it's been so bloody hot this week. Every time I get the motivation to do it, I kind of... 16 by 9 is offending Fairfight's sensibilities. Okay, how about... we can work this out. Don't worry. Don't worry. You'll be okay. It's all going to be okay. Right. English. I almost need to put on the disc loading sounds. It did have one, I think, in WinUAE, so you could hear it going. Come on, come on. So anybody in the chat, though, have you noticed if you dig out any of these old machines that you've really forgotten about disc loading times, and then when you sort of start experiencing them again, you kind of go, crikey, was it always that bad? F12, open settings. So we're going to need a joystick of sorts. So we've got a USB gamepad, indeed. Remap test. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. Test it. Ah, okay, down, left, right. Oh, it does seem to be doing something. F12 is exit. Good. Port 1. The dungeon. I'm not going to be much help to the princess in here. I've got to escape. Maybe some of the other prisoners can help. So fair fight. Did you add the speaker mod yourself to your GoTech and then remove it? Please wait. Loading level. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to play on a CRT. Although I tell you what, I was rooting around and I did find a couple of CRT PC monitors. So it's probably worth keeping hold of those, though. There will be a time when they'll be sought after. Keys, interesting. Okay. Spaces inventory, so I've got ZX. Just looking in case there's a jump. Please pause. I'm almost certain there's got to be a jump in this. Well, this is a good screen for trying to work out your keys. Ah, down. Ah, up and down. Okay. Yes. This is pretty smooth, though, isn't it? This is a nice looking game. I never really liked platformers on the 8-bit or 16-bit era, apart from on the games consoles, because there was just something better about them. And I remember like used to have Zool and some of those games, but it didn't really do it for me. Right, how do we attack?
Andrew, you were talking about the speed of disk loading a minute ago. Do you know the key combination for warp in WinUAE?
Oh yeah, I don't remember it off by heart, but I certainly remember using it. Ah, cool. Secrets.
Yeah, I think by default it's end and pause. If you hit that, then it will just fly past any loading.
End and pause. Okay, I love it. Do you remember, Neil, if you actually have to save these characters here that are sort of hanging up? Oh. He does appear to get sort of a light bulb above his head at times. Means he spotted something, I think. Oh, so there's this thing here.
I said I know it was good. I didn't say I'd played it, Andrew.
Ah. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh no, the winding handle is missing. Without it, you cannot bring the prisoner down. Okay, good. So it's actually a proper... So it's actually a puzzler as well. Snake charmer motions you closer. Bring me 65 jewels and you can buy the snake. Okay. Oh, bugger. Nice. Okay, so when you hover over something, you get the light bulb. If you hit space, it will tell you what the message is. Otherwise, it will bring up your inventory. The Amiga had some great music though. Brilliant. Ah, Neil, that reminds me. I posted on Discord or maybe Twitter earlier in the week oh crap, no. A picture of an Amiga that somebody was selling on eBay that looked awfully similar, or if not the same as kind of one I had with the same spec, and I was wondering if it was mine, and but I wasn't willing to pay the £1,800 they wanted to check. This door looks different to all the others.
What are the chances, really, though? I remember on the Amiga that I used to have when I did scratch my name on the bottom of it, so there is a chance I could find it one day.
I think it was in a sort of custom tower, and I really remember spending a lot of time on the metalwork because it was like a PC one. But yeah, it probably isn't. Oh, the old light bulb was going off then. Okay. Further down the corridor, you can hear cries for help. So we're looking for a winding handle. No. Good luck getting back across the acid.
Do you think maybe you could use the snake as a handle?
Well, that's a good point. Let's see how many jewels I have. Oh, I got plenty of jewels now. Yeah, let's have a go. Ah, yes. Rigid. Have you ever put a rigid snake to use, Neil? Let's get our rigid snake going. Boom.
No, but you didn't think twice about grabbing that rigid snake, did you?
I never do. There we go. This is nice, all these animations. And for some reason, the game that's popped into my mind is Creatures, which I absolutely hate. Lockpicks. Oh, I think we're in business now. But I don't know, do you ever play Creatures? Because I never get anywhere with that thing. Oops. Come on now. So Fair Fight says...
Right, Andrew, I have to slink off for a little bit. If I can come back on later, I will.
No problem. I'm going to be playing Arabian Night for a while. Thanks for joining, Neil. Fairfight 14 says, this month should be a nice month. Fingers crossed, because the Ultimate 64 and Spectrum Next may get shipped. I've been waiting for a while for all of those things. Have you given up on your Vega? Oh, it's so easy to bloody hit space. That's the problem. See ya, Bazza. Oh no, Bazza, you're just saying see ya to Neil. Good, I thought you were disappearing off because you hadn't finished teaching me all the northern phrases. I found the guards' quarters. Okay. What's that? What's that? Energon cubes. Do I have to go down there? These Mario style warp things. Door picks, lock picks. Oh bum, what have I done? Oh no! Yeah, it is awfully quiet, but I can see that my wife is home. Let's see. Are the kids still safe? Right. I think I've done my duty then. Oh no, what are the keys? Bloody hell. Right, Bazza, Northern and Hullian phrases are slightly different. Oh. I don't even know where Hull is. How do I get out of this bloody thing now? Oh, phew. I'm starting to get worried then. In your belly. Oh, there's a treasure chest down there. Yes, please. Didn't see what that was. Let's have a look. It is a maze. Is that a genie? Don't know how you activate it. Certainly not pressing space. Are we done in there? Let's just double check. The entrance to the magic pot mazes. Alright, so maybe that's the magic power is now telling you which one to go in. So that's awfully lucky about the your Vega. Glad to hear it, fair fight. Ah, okay. It's a bit Mega Man-y, but I like it. Have you seen the movie The Event Horizon? Yeah, I have seen that one. It's kind of lame, but it's good. But I think they made it lame, if I recall. It could have been better, given all of the IP that they invested in, like the ship and all of the design. There's something naff about it, though. I do like these tumbling blocks too, that's kind of neat, isn't it? Okay. Gattaca is a classic film. It's brilliant. A bit long-winded, Fair Fight. Come on, you heathen. I bet you don't even like Wes Anderson movies for the same reason. Oh, no, it's got protections. But we guessed them correctly, I'm hoping. Fair Fight saying, are you checking the time? Checking the time. Is there a reason I need to check the time? Is there... Have I planned something? Is there a football match or something I'm missing? Are England playing somebody? Free at last, I heard the old lady beyond the forest can make me a flying carpet. Come on. Oh yeah, no, Neil did tell me the turbo button sequence, but I'm damned if I can remember it right now. Fair Fight saying you kept looking to your right. If I'm looking to my right, it's when I'm looking at the chat. Because I don't see the chat up here where you see it. I see it in a separate window. And then you're seeing the chat overlaid and composited in the actual stream itself. So that's the problem I have with the old chat. But I could, you know, we could drag it over there. But it wouldn't be that good. Nah, let's not bother. You don't want that. You don't want to see that. It's just a web page, basically, with chat on it. Oh, country file. I don't want to miss country file. Is it still John Craven, or has he died? I thought he died. Fair Fight saying, wait a minute, are you mirrored? I don't know. I don't know. When I turn my head to the left, you're seeing it turn to the right. But is that what you ought to be seeing? I don't know. Welcome to the Forest of Nedben. This is a good game. I kind of feel that if I had this even now on a Switch, I'd play this right now. Is there any way I can get this on my Switch without too much effort? I mean, this is the sort of title that... Oh, they're like abandonware, but, you know, the original publishers could just... release that. It's really weird. We only get Nintendo IP or Neo Geo, but why don't we get some of these things? It's fine. The bear says, I tried to stop the demon as he flew over the city walls when I was on guard duty. The demon punished me by turning me into a bear, and I've had 5 hunters after me already. Boo hoo. Okay, Fair Fight. Let's. This is on my left. Yeah. So in the window, it's still actually on my left, isn't it? So it's correct. So it's not mirrored. It's not mirrored. It's actual, but maybe you want it mirrored. Oh no! Why have I lost control of my dude? What happened? What? What? I put down the keyboard to talk to you, and then it... yeah, the cable is on the left. Oh, you are joking me. Damn it. The keys in the menu suck. They're not the same keys in the game. There's something weird about this. So when I'm looking upright, I'll tell you what, I'm looking here now. That's when I'm looking at a chat screen. That's the chat screen. Right, I'm just trying to figure out the controls here. Oh, okay. ZX. Oh, the joystick's working now. Alright, that's different. This is a game changer now. And again, he's forgotten the turbo key. It's a fair fight. I'm getting awfully confused about the. That's my left. And even as you're looking at me, it's showing it on the right-hand side of the screen, but that's still the left-hand side of my head. Okay, so that's the inventory button. Oh, jump is up. Real shame that you haven't got jump though linked to a button. You've got loads of buttons on this pad. Although maybe we can use technology for that. So if we do input, up, X-axis. Can you do something like forget it. What I was going to say is you can probably assign a spare button on your SNES controller just to up. So that gives you the ability to jump. Which is slash. Okay. This should be a speedrun game, shouldn't it? Right. Let's see. If I've got enough to get the snake, I don't need to go any further. More jewels needed. Oh, only 5 jewels short. Fair fight. Where's Andrew and Gary these days? Are they about? I thought they were going to be online for a bit of streaming. We need to pin them down to a time, I think. Look at his arms. Definitely better with a gamepad, and definitely better second time round. I'm really surprised that it actually had a keyboard option on the Amiga. I can't remember any Atari games having keyboard options. They may have, but it was pretty much expected at that point that you were going to have a joystick unless it was a sort of multiplayer game. Sugar. So Fairfox says, since you've been travelling, it all seemed to die down a little. Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it's travelling. I think it's because it's just been so hot. I think we've got. We've all been suffering from the weather, haven't we? Oh, bum. And it's not just that. It's also like making videos, because I've got a lot of projects that I want to make videos for. And I tell you what, I've got a couple of aborted videos, which are the worst, where you start a project and you just kind of lose the will halfway through. So let's say imagine I can't remember what it was this morning. I was fixing something, I got a car boot sale, and you start recording them and you just go, I can't be bothered. And so you're not in it, you're not into it, you're not like enthusiastic about the subject, so you go, I'm just going to fix this and get on with my life. So unfortunately that's kind of what I did with that this morning, and it sometimes feels a shame, because it's like, I'm sure what I did was I basically took this, there's a kiddie projector for projecting dinosaurs and stuff onto a little area where you can copy them down onto paper. It's kind of cool, and it came with a load of cartridges, but it used an incandescent bulb, which I'd converted to an LED, so that was quite cute. I used the same bulb housing and everything, so I just sort of fitted all the LED and stuff. But 4 LEDs actually. It was quite a neat way of doing it. It does show that you can actually convert them pretty I was going to say realistically. It's not like you can't get LED lamps for most things, but if you had an old Enigma machine or something, you might be stuffed, for example. So you could convert those lamps on those to LEDs if you really wanted to. Oh, cockroaches. This game didn't seem to have any continues when we tried this on the last run. So all those energy units are important. But that being said about the videos, Fair Fight, there's a lot of projects to do. No, Bazza, yeah, sorry. The Hoover one is like a week old. I did that last weekend or something, or whenever it was. I tried to get some done in advance because I know I'm going to be away. Select. There we go. Lockpicks are great benefit in this game. So today's video though does seem to be quite divisive actually. My phone's beeped a few times and it's always people they seem to have it in for Dyson. And I have to admit I was really not a Dyson fan at all. I think their stuff is generally quite overpriced for what it is, but we tried this little V8 Hoover thing and now we don't use any other Hoover in the house, so I think it does the job. Now, I suspect though before long I think even Dyson have said this. I think there's a lot of companies who are just going to only go to battery technology on the vacuum cleaners, and I think that's cool. That's really cool. I mean, it doesn't have... It's only like a dustbuster, really, but with all the attachment on it and everything, you end up using it to do all the carpets and the kitchen floor and stuff. So I don't think we ever get the real Hoovers out. And remember, I've got like a couple of Kirby's and, I don't know, Panasonic or something. But yeah, we very rarely get those out now. So I kind of got that as a whim because I got it at a good price. And yeah, no, it's pretty good. Apart from that weird thing with the filter, I don't know if it's... The filters are kind of washable, but I don't know if it's something that I've got in the back office that if it's sucked up and then when you've done the washed it into the filter, it's like gone hard or something, like cement. Though I've not been playing with cement, I have to admit. But yeah, maybe some of those fine particles really just get stuck into the filter and you can't wash them out. I think that's the problem. Yeah, as you say about the G-Tech is another similar brand, isn't it? Where you just plug them in. I think they're great. I'm seeing a lot of clues here. These are annoying. These are like those horse head things in Castlevania. I hate any of those enemies that float around like that. Especially in a game like this where you don't have a massive range of your weapon. Okay, so if you water this plant, I think it's going to grow. That was the hint. Shit. Shoot, rather. Trying to be more family friendly now. But I used to have dustbusters and all the like of those things, and if I add up all the money I would have spent on those, and they were all a bit crappy, I think the Dyson is probably worth spending the money on. So if you are a user of that kind of thing, definitely consider a Dyson. You can get them actually remanufactured from Dyson themselves really quite cheap. Bruce says, you want to get through this hill? Well, it's going to cost you. For a small sum of 50 coins, I'll dig a tunnel for you through the hill. Okay. So we've got to get some water. Holy smokes. Oh, phew. How many coins have I got now? Have I got 50? No. We don't have 50 coins. Can I jump in that box? Down? No. Bollocks. Right, so I'm pushing down basically and trying to do stuff in that. There only seems to be spikes under there anyway. That does seem to be the only way out. Right, let's see inventory. Anything we got there is useful? No. Any secrets there? No. Yeah, Bazzy's saying it's like the Apple of the vacuum world. I guess so. But I guess they also do other consumer electronics too, right? They do fans and hair dryers and stuff too. Oh, any clues, anybody? I hate when you get this sort of thing in games where it's just like... I've got no idea now what you're supposed to do. What? So I pushed down and I pushed inventory. It's a weird metric. Oh, let's go down here then. Ah. So yeah, there's a weird mechanism there for the going down, pushing inventory. So going down, pushing inventory. Yeah, so if you go down and push inventory at any time, it doesn't do anything. That'd be good for a keyboard shortcut or a joystick remap. Do I have to? I didn't speak to this guy, but he's crying out tears. If you capture all of his tears, maybe you could put them on the plant. Is there anything you can do with that? Ah! Not really. sure is a puzzler. So Fairfight saying he was playing Star Trek Monopoly today. That doesn't... Is it fun or is it boring? I'm hoping it's not one of those games that because I didn't listen to the help, it hasn't activated some sort of game trigger. No, no, no. So you're playing Star Trek Monopoly today and you find it funny you still get hotels and houses. They call them fleets and ships. I might send off to get some ships 3D printed. That's cool. Come on, I need something. I need someone to cry out all their tears. Aha. Treasure. Three energon cubes. That is true. What do they use in the Star Trek world for currency? That kudos. You just have the right. Oh, good. Sorry, I just heard some screaming outside, but I'm assuming they're not in the pond thing. Energy units. Well, well, well. Very, very amusing. I'm guessing we can go down the wells. I reckon, honestly, if you're looking for a game for the Amiga that sort of plays a bit like a console game, I think this is as close as I've got to something that feels like a kind of Mega Drive type game. Right, so she's given me a thimble and she wants thread. Like warp pipes, aren't they? They're definitely like warp pipes. What do we got there? Energy, energy. Wow. Why do we need so much energy? It's like a dizzy game. Oh, bum. Much up there. So I've got a thimble now. Oh, I know, to pick up the tiny tears. Was it here? No, we didn't need something from here. The tears, the tears. We wanted the tears. All I remember, oh, for the plant. Before we do that, yeah, the thinky bubble there. Thinky, thinky. So we need the water. Ah, come on. Just grabbing these. So if you look in the top left corner, you can see that the thimble appears to be full. You water the plant using the magical tears from the thimble. It has a strange effect. Excellent. It's like Morrowind. That game also did not explain anything. What was Morrowind then? It sounds to me like a kind of adventure-y Skyriming game. No! Come back to Mordor. Yeah. Imagine trying to catch Piers with a thimble. Bazza, you're absolutely right. I hadn't really, thought of that figuratively. Sorry, I was thinking of it figurative. I haven't thought of it literally what it would be like to do that. But now you've put that into my mind, it sort of seems like something that needs to be experimented with. Right, how did we get... okay. I like that it's got pace. Yeah, it's pacey, this game, because you move quite quickly. But at the same time, it's got puzzle. Do it. The granny says, I've lost my string vest pattern, so you'll have to make do with a nice rug. Here I go. What? Oh, she's gonna blow. She's fucking. Whoa, that was some hardcore knitting. Yes. No. Yes. Magic carpet. Although that kind of sucked, didn't it, magic carpet, when we were having a go at that. Right, I've got magical carpet selected. Ah. I could do with a lot more energy. No, no, don't die. Bugger. By gum. That's disappointing. Right, well, I feel I've probably been boring you enough, all 12 of you. But I think that's a good game. I think I'd like to play that again at some point in the not too distant future. I feel it's probably time again for me to go and have a nice bit of hop with shed loads of ice. And if you want to continue the conversation and want to ping me on Discord, I'm going to be around doing Sunday things. I think, what do we say now? John Craven's on soon, watching a bit of Country File. Then maybe after Country File, some Antiques Roadshow. And then after the Antiques Roadshow, ideally some Last of the Summer Wine with Bazza, because he's teaching me how to behave properly like a true Northerner. So have a good Sunday. We might be on later if somebody manages to organise a bit of Star Trek Bridge Crew. Oh yeah, now before I go though, I was speaking to Andrew Dalton on the Discord. If you look at we have a what we watched on telly section where we talk about movies or whatever we're watching right now. And I was saying that I'm watching Star Trek Beyond on Netflix, and it was good. I really liked it, but he absolutely hated it. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. I thought it was an absolutely corking movie. So I thought, I don't know where there's a disconnect. And I'll tell you what I liked about it. I liked that it had all of the crew off the ship running around, doing real running around on the planet, and the whole Enterprise was pretty much knackered anyway. So it wasn't all ship-based stuff. So yeah, I thought it was good. So there. In conclusion, try Star Trek Beyond, and then see who's more right, me or Mr. Dalton. Thank you for watching.